If you have watched European fans discover America during the 2026 World Cup, you have seen the videos of their reactions to the roads. In Europe, driving means navigating narrow lanes in small cars past speed cameras every few miles, going around roundabouts instead of four-way stops, and reading road signs that use pictures instead of words. Because the roads are so old, they actually predate the idea of putting text on a sign. And if you have driven in America, you know that basically none of that applies here, because American roads mean wide lanes, enormous trucks, no speed cameras anywhere, and the ability to turn right on a red light, which is completely illegal in almost every European country. And somewhere outside Houston, Texas, there is a highway so wide that the first time a European sees it, they genuinely cannot process what they are looking at. Today, we are breaking down exactly what happened when over 1 million European fans landed in America for the 2026 World Cup, got behind the wheel for the first time, and drove straight into a road culture they had seen in movies their whole lives but never actually experienced in real life. Before we get into it, here is a question with a real answer for you. How many lanes wide is the Katy Freeway in Houston, Texas, the widest highway in the world? Drop your guess in the comments right now because we are confirming the real number later in the video. And honestly, when you find out, it completely changes how you think about the whole story of American roads versus European roads. So here is the context you need first. America and Europe built their road systems at completely different times, for completely different reasons, and with completely different assumptions about how people would actually use them. European roads in many cases follow paths that are literally centuries old, originally designed for horses and carts in medieval towns that were never meant to accommodate a car, let alone a 10-lane interstate. The lanes are narrow by necessity. The roads wind and curve because they follow the contours of land that was already settled long before anyone imagined a combustion engine. And the distances between places in Europe are short enough that the road system, as tight and winding as it is, generally works for the population density it serves. European road signs use pictures rather than words because of the Vienna Convention on Road Signs and Signals of 1968, an international treaty that standardized symbol-based signage across dozens of countries with dozens of different languages, so one system works across an entire continent with no translation required. America built its modern road system from scratch in the 20th century, and it built it big. President Dwight Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act in 1956, creating the Interstate Highway System, and here is something most people do not know about why it ended up the way it did. His inspiration came directly from his experience in World War II, trying to move military vehicles through the narrow roads of England and Europe before the D-Day invasion. He found it nearly impossible. European roads were simply not built to handle the volume and size of military equipment he needed to move. And then there was Germany. Eisenhower had seen the Autobahn, the German highway network that had been built in the 1930s, and he understood exactly what a purpose-built high-speed road system could do for a country. So he came home and built the most extensive highway network in human history, specifically because European roads were not good enough. European fans driving across American interstates this summer are, without knowing it, driving on roads that exist because their own roads were too small. The first thing that went viral was the freeways themselves. ABC News confirmed that 8-lane freeways were among the most shared reactions from European World Cup visitors this summer, alongside pickup trucks, oversized fire engines, and yellow school buses. Fans from Scotland, England, France, Germany, and Ireland posted videos from highways that looked to them like airport runways, with lanes stretching so far across that you could barely see the other side. In most of Europe, a major highway has 2 or 3 lanes in each direction. In Texas, that is considered a small road. The Bennett Creative social media analysis confirmed that Europeans used to navigating narrow city streets in small Renaults and smart cars were completely blindsided by the scale of American highway infrastructure. One recurring theme across the viral content was European drivers describing the experience of merging onto an American interstate for the first time as feeling like stepping onto a runway while planes were landing. And then came the pickup trucks, because honestly, nothing could have prepared European visitors for the American pickup truck, no matter how many American movies they had watched growing up. In Europe, the most common vehicles on the road are compact cars, hatchbacks, and small sedans. Cars like the Renault Clio, the Volkswagen Golf, and the Ford Fiesta, all designed to navigate narrow medieval streets and fit into parking spaces roughly the size of a dining room table. In Texas, those vehicles are basically invisible. The parking lots outside World Cup venues in Dallas and Houston were filled with Ford F-150s, Ram 1500s, and Chevrolet Silverados. Trucks so large that a standard European compact car could practically park underneath one. MSN confirmed that multiple viral clips showed European fans renting pickup trucks for the first time during their World Cup road trips, driving them across Texas wearing cowboy hats, fully embracing an experience that felt to them like living inside a movie they had seen their whole lives. The road rules themselves also caught European visitors completely off guard. In almost every European country, turning right at a red traffic light is illegal, and you simply stop, wait for green, and then go. In America, turning right on red has been standard practice in most states since the Right Turn on Red Act of 1975, which effectively made it the law of the land across all 50 states. European visitors sitting at red lights watching American cars casually turn right in front of them were genuinely confused about whether they were watching something illegal or something they just did not understand. And perhaps the most surprising of all, there are virtually no speed cameras on American highways. In Britain, France, Germany, and most of Europe, speed cameras, including the Gazzo cameras that line British motorways, are so common that drivers barely think about them. In America, they are so rare that European fans described the freedom of driving on an open American highway without a speed camera in sight as one of the most unexpectedly liberating moments of the entire trip. Now, here is where the road culture story gets genuinely interesting. Because the road trip does not exist in Europe the same way it does in America. Europeans travel between cities by train, by budget airline, by bicycle. The idea of just getting in a car and driving, covering 600 or 700 miles in a day without thinking twice about it, is genuinely foreign to most Europeans. What World Cup fans discovered this summer was not just that American highways are wide and American trucks are large. They discovered that driving in America feels completely different from driving anywhere else on Earth because the road itself means something different here. The American road is not just infrastructure, but something closer to identity and freedom rolled into one. Jack Kerouac wrote an entire novel about it called On the Road, which is essentially the founding document of the American road trip as a cultural idea. Route 66, the original cross-country highway that ran from Chicago to Los Angeles before the interstate system replaced it, became a symbol of that same freedom. A road you drove not because it was the fastest way to get somewhere, but because the driving itself was the point. And Country Roads, the John Denver song Take Me Home Country Roads about driving through West Virginia, became the unofficial anthem of the 2026 World Cup, according to Yahoo Sports, with fans from every nation singing along at bars and stadiums across the country, many of whom had never been within 1,000 miles of West Virginia and yet somehow knew every single word. Freddie, the German fan whose Waffle House visit led to a White House invitation, captured the whole spirit of it in a single post. His hotel receptionist, noticing that Freddie and his friends were about to walk an hour to the stadium in the rain just to save money on an Uber, simply decided to drive them there with no charge and no question, just someone with a car in a car culture doing what felt completely natural. In Europe, the receptionist might have called a taxi, but in America they just got in the car because that is what you do in a country built entirely around the vehicle. All right, let us go back to the question from the beginning of this video. How many lanes wide is the Katy Freeway in Houston, Texas, the widest highway in the world? The answer is 26 lanes, confirmed by Wikipedia, the Houston Chronicle, and Texas A&M Transportation Institute researcher Anthony Voigt, who said if there is a freeway wider than the Katy, he has not heard of it. 12 main lanes, 8 feeder lanes, and 6 managed lanes, all part of a $2.8 billion expansion completed in 2008. Now, here is the detail that lands differently once you know the number. China does have a 50-lane toll plaza approach road outside Beijing, but that is a toll booth collection point, not a freeway anyone actually drives on. The Katy Freeway is the widest road in the world that real people genuinely commute on every single day. And here is the twist that nobody really talks about. After spending $2.8 billion to widen it to 26 lanes, traffic studies showed that congestion came back within just a few years anyway, a phenomenon called induced demand, the economic principle that says new road capacity generates new trips, so traffic expands to fill whatever lanes you build, almost no matter how many you add. Reddit users described it as what the road to hell looks like. European fans who drove on it this summer on their way to a Houston World Cup match saw 26 lanes of backed-up Texas traffic and genuinely could not believe that 26 lanes was somehow not enough. Now, I want to hear from you. If you are European and you drove in America for the first time during this World Cup, what was the single most shocking moment you had behind the wheel? And if you are American, what do you think Europeans simply cannot wrap their heads around when it comes to how you drive and how you think about roads? Drop it in the comments because this one is going to start a real debate. If you liked this video, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because there is a lot more of this coming before the tournament wraps on July 19th. And always remember, whether you call it football or football, the game always brings us together. I'll see you on the next one.